to see you guys show up on time. Link to our class Nearpod is in the chat. Let's go ahead and join. Remember, the session will be recorded in case somebody is absent. I was just glimpsing through the questions. So here is that title slide. We are going to go over progress learning quiz. February that is due on February the 9th. That is this Thursday. This progress learning quiz is open for you guys to take. But here, Landon, here is the link to the Nearpod. Okay. Joanne, can you remind me that you are here so we can go over the volume questions? Let me know that's true. Joanne, you have to refresh my memory. If that is true that you're here for volume questions, you don't have the link. The link is right on top of your message, Jocelyn. Here we are. Right? Let's see who. Giovanni, just let me know if you were the one who messaged me that you want to go with the volume questions. So the last 15 to 20 minutes of class, we can do that. Okay, perfect, Giovanni. I've got those questions handy. Just remind me, like at 1:10, Miss Sayed, it is a reminder. Let's go ahead and hop on to the volume questions that I had requested, and we'll do so. Okay, let's go ahead and move on and look at question 1. This is how question 1 for progress learning. Anytime you join my Mad Building Blocks, over here I tell you what are we doing. We are doing progress learning quiz February 9th, question 1 at this time. And the question says, the tree diagram represents a coin and a dice thrown at random. You've heard me talk about tree diagram in class, and this is an example of a tree diagram that represents a coin and a dice thrown at random. What is the total number of possible outcomes? I'm going to give you guys around a couple of minutes to study this tree diagram. See if it makes sense to you or not. If it does make sense, raise your hand and share with the class. How would you read this particular tree diagram? How would you read this? Okay, everybody go ahead. See if you can make sense out of this tree diagram. Landon, very good. Landon, can you hop on the mic and share what do you see? Dion, go ahead, Landon.
Which part?
Can you explain this tree diagram in your own words? What do you see? Or how do you read it?
Sure. So the first two possibilities is flipping either heads or tails, which is 50-50% chance.
Very good.
And then if you flip heads, there's a 50% chance of getting an odd number or an even number. And if you flip tails, there's also a 50% chance.
Very good. Excellent. Very good. So this first one, the very first branch of the tree is talking about tossing a coin. You can either get heads or you can get tails. In this case, this is like the AND probability we were talking about in our general session, right? And multiplicative, right? And then there is another thing going on. There's also a dice that is being rolled. And these are the numbers on a numbered cube, right? So first possible outcome could be you toss a coin and you get heads, right? You might get heads. And when you roll the die, you get 1. A possible outcome is getting heads on the coin and rolling a 1 on the number cube. That makes sense? Another outcome can be on the coin, tossing heads, and on the number cube, getting a 2. So I will say coin might have heads. The number cube might have 2. This is second possible outcome. And you will keep going on and list all the possible outcomes. Navayat, please hop on the mic for your question. You can also choose to type it. Your mic isn't working. Third possibility will be you toss the coin, you get heads. No, it is optional. You roll a die, you end up getting 3. So I will say heads, H for heads. On the number cube, get a 3. Fourth outcome could be still on the coin, you might end up getting heads. On the number cube, you might end up getting 4. These are all the possible outcomes, right? And I will keep listing all my possible outcomes. Let's see. And then you can also get heads and a number 5 on the number cube. Then you can also get heads on the coin, and you can end up getting 6 on the number cube. Then there's another set of possibilities. You might not get heads on the coin, but you might get tails, right, on the coin. And on the rolling die, you might get a 1. So you can get coin might right be on tails, and the number cube might be on 1. Then coin might be on tails and number cube might be on 2, right? These are all possible outcomes. The coin might be on tails and number cube might land on number 3 on the cube, and tails and number 4 on the cube, tails and number 5 on the cube. These are all possibilities, right? This is how you read the tree diagram. So these are all possible outcomes. And normally, these very last branches tell you how many outcomes there are, right? Heads 1, heads 2, heads 3, heads 4, heads 5, and heads 6. So 6 outcomes here and another 6 outcomes here, right? Altogether, it tells you that there are 12 outcomes in all. If this is happening, these two events are happening, the total number of possible outcomes is 12 for part A. Okay. Part B says, what is the probability of getting tails? So getting a tails, that means I restrict myself to this part of the diagram, right? What is the probability of getting a tails and an odd number? Let's see. I restricted myself to the tails. Then I'm going to look at the odd numbers. Odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5, right? So I can write down my favorable outcomes that I'm looking forward to, right? I can have tails 1 on the number cube. I can have tails and the number 3 on the number cube. I can have tails and the number 5 on the number cube. And there are only 3 such outcomes out of a total of 12 outcomes. So for probability of landing on tails, right? Probability for landing on tails and getting an odd number. I write on odd. So you are very clear about what Miss Syed is doing. An odd will be 3, right? Out of 12 total outcomes. 3 out of 12. I'm gonna pause here. This is a very brand new topic that we have learned. Are there any questions? Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense that 3 12s? Okay, if I reduce 3 12s by 3, right? That's possible. You reduce by 3. and I get 1/4. Everybody agrees? 3/12 reduced to 1/4. Dion, then reconsider. There might be a typing error. This becomes 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. As a decimal, 1/4 is 0.25. As a decimal, 1/4 will be 0.25. I box my answer. There we are, Dion. I'm gonna go and look at your Nearpod slides. I know, Cheyenne, your slide is so full like mine. Natalie, so is yours. I try to write out all the outcomes so it makes sense to you guys. Normally, with time, you will know how to read a tree diagram and you don't have to write out all these outcomes. And sometimes there's just so many outcomes. Okay? And this is a lesson objective that you need to know how to read a tree diagram and list the outcomes. Are there any questions before we move on? That makes sense to everybody? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. And here we have Henry will be tossing a coin twice. In this unit for probability, it is very important that we read the questions carefully. This was one confusing, Amy? I'm going to see if I can make it simple. Okay. Henry will be tossing a coin twice. Which list represents all possible outcomes? So what I can say, coin, this is the first toss, okay? I'm not going to even say coin, but I'm going to say first toss. This is the very first toss. First time Henry tosses a coin, he might get either heads or he might get tails. Right? Now let's look at the second toss. The second toss means he might get, in the first toss, if he got heads, in the second toss, he might get heads again. Or in the first toss, if he got heads, in the second toss, he might get tails. Or if he never got heads, he might got tails in the first toss. Then in the second toss, it is possible he gets heads. Or in the second toss, he might get tails. Amy, does it help you see what kind of outcomes possibly you can end up getting? Dion, I agree to you. A little. I'm going to write down the outcomes and see if that makes sense. So, possible outcomes, if I'm going to write down, will be he might get a heads in the first toss and heads in the second toss. Then the outcome is heads, comma heads, right? H, comma H, heads, comma heads, if he gets heads in both the tosses. Or he might get heads in the first toss and tails in the next toss. And this is also a possibility. Heads, then he ends up getting tails in the next toss. Right? Or he might not have gotten heads in the first toss. He might have gotten tails in the first toss. And then in the second toss, he might get heads. First toss, might get tails. Second toss, he might end up getting heads. Or the fourth possibility is he might get tails in the first toss and tails also in the second toss. So tails, comma tails. So you just have to read the branches of the tree, Derek. Derek, see, you also can read the branches of the tree. See, if I follow along the branches, how does it say? Heads and then heads. First option, heads, heads. Then I go back, heads, and I follow the second branch, tree. Oh, not tree. Branches relate to tree, that's why. But heads and then tails. So heads, tails. So heads, tails. We finished those two outcomes. We go down to tails. We follow along the branches of the tree, say tails, heads. So tail side could be the next. Then go back, follow along the branches, right? Tails, another tails. So tails, tails. So these are the four outcomes. If you look carefully, A mentions all of those, right? Heads, heads, tails, tails, heads, tails, tails, heads. So all the different ways you can possibly end up getting. I'm going to pause here and I want to take it to another level. If this question was talking about 3 tosses, here says twice, right? If they were talking about 3 tosses, not twice, but thrice, 3 times, could you have extended this tree so you can show 3 tosses? Because on my assessment, sometimes I can even give you 3 tosses. And in your mind, do you see how you could have extended the branches for 3 tosses? This is a possibility. I'm just letting you know. I might not ask you these questions in this progress learning quiz, but might be in the next one. But let's go ahead and see how the questions look like. I didn't get a chance to look through all of them. And it's been a time I created this progress learning quiz. Are there questions before I move on? Are there questions before I move on? Okay. Keep giving me feedback so we can slow down as needed and understand each and every question. Now, they want to say, if you are flipping a coin, what is the sample space? Sample space is a new word for, this is something I'm going to cover tomorrow, but it's okay for us to just talk about it. Sample space means all possible outcomes. In our class, we are using the word all possible outcomes for sample space. Okay? If you toss a coin, what are all possible outcomes? Good job, Derek. Excellent. That was simple, right? Possible outcomes will be heads and tails. Here is the link, Emiliano. And remember, this session will be recorded in case anybody needs to go over some questions again. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. Sample space, Amy, means all possible outcomes. That, like in our class, we say all possible outcomes. Okay, all possible outcomes. Not just favorable, but all. We will start to use the word sample space tomorrow in our class. Let's go ahead and move on. Then we have this question here. Timmy is rolling a 6-sided die. What is the sample space? Reminder, what is sample space? All possible outcomes. I'm going to write down here. Sample space means all possible outcomes. So let's see how you guys answer this one. Derek, I agree. Very good. Very good, Paige. Nicholas, I need to see you in your pod, please. Emiliano, good. Carmen, good, right? Take your time, everybody. Go ahead, see if you can answer. Right? Write down this word for yourself. It is a brand new word you have never learned before. Because this is a new word I need to introduce in class tomorrow. Sample space means all possible outcomes. And the correct answer definitely is A, because on a number queue, you have numbers 1 through 6. And you don't have a repeating 5. You don't have a 7. You don't have as few numbers as 1, 2, 3. You have 1 through 6. Then Nick, in the chat, the only thing I should see is answers to questions. And I should see only in private chat, not even over here. Next question. What is the sample space when a coin is tossed twice? I'm going to see how you guys answer this question. I'm going to give you hints for sample space as a reminder. Sample spaces, all possible outcomes. That is what sample space is. If you toss a coin twice, 2 times, and now I'm going to see how you answer because we went over this question. Logan, good. Giovanni, very good. Carmen, one outcome is missing. Emiliano, good. Let's see more. Valerie, good. Okay. For this one, you might get heads in the first toss. In the first toss, right? I'm going to say 1. First toss, you might get heads. Or if not heads, you might get tails. Then second toss, if you ended up getting heads, second toss could possibly be heads again. That is this one, right? Heads and heads. Or you might end up getting tails. Then you have heads, tails. See? Heads, tails. Or you never got heads in the first toss, you got tails in the first toss. Then you can end up getting heads in the second toss. So that makes tails and then heads. So tail and then heads. Or you might end up getting tails in the first toss and then tails again in the second toss. These are all possible outcomes in answer choice A using the tree diagram. Yeah, Neuro's been acting up. Sometimes it does for some people, Dion, good. Then the best thing is you'll refresh your page and join back again. Nicholas, I redirected you, right? I am waiting to see that you will answer me in the private question and answer chat so I can guide you to the answers. The purpose of this session is definitely to have some good time with friends, but more of it is for learning. Derek, very good. Elijah, that didn't make up all the possible outcomes. It's all, Elijah. If you want all, these are just 2. Heads, you might get heads in the first toss, heads in the next toss. You might get heads in the first toss and tails in the next. But it doesn't list out all. This doesn't list all. This doesn't even list properly. It's not even 2 tosses. It's just about 1 coin. Okay? So I will say if Neuro isn't working good, you refresh your page, right? Because it is not doing that for everybody, Sheldon. You will refresh your page and you will see hopefully it will work a lot better. I'm gonna pause here. Before moving on, are there any questions? Jakira. Make sure you figure out the right answer. Okay. Let's look at this question. So from my understanding, I didn't pick some harder questions so I can make it easy for you guys. Yes. Lana has several dog treats in her drawer. 4 pig's ears, 3 rawhide twists, and 5 dental chews. So these are all dog treats. All these, right, are the dog treats that Lana has. She will randomly choose one treat from the drawer for her dog, Molly. And here is Molly's picture. What is the probability that Lana will choose a pig's ear? Right? Go ahead, get started. Let me see how you guys do on this. Jadine, I agree to you. Dion, let me see what you picked. Once you do Dion, multiple checks, the original answer just goes away. But Dion, I say reconsider. If I'm gonna, like how Landon is here, right? Landon, you asked me for formula. I now just like to do it. It just maybe gives more understanding. What I will do for probability of getting pig's ear, that's the name of a treat, probability of getting pig's ear, the formula could be, I will say number of pig's ears over total treats. If you do that, you get probability. That's a simple formula Landon helped me come up with in our general session. Right? If you express it like this, there you go. Dion, I agree to you. Okay, if you use this formula, it will work. It is just like how we use fractions. Paige, I agree. Valerie, reconsider. There's more than one pig's ear. Natalie, reconsider. Landon, good. Jadine, good. Joycelyn, just type your answer here in this chat and I will check your work. Giovanni, very good. Emiliano, very good. Jakira, I would say reconsider. So how many do we have pig's ears? We've got 4. So when I want to write number of pig's ears, they are 4. And how much is total number of treats? I have 4, then 3, and 5. If you combine 4 plus 3 plus 5, the total number of treats is 12. The total number of treats is 12. Let's see, Sheldon. 4 twelfths. Is 4 twelfths in the answer? No. I gotta simplify then. I will simplify by 4. Okay. Let's simplify this number by 4. And we will end up getting how much? There you go. We end up getting 1/3. Right? 1/3 is what we end up getting. I will pause here. Most of the questions on the progress learning will look like these. If you're good, you should be successful for the rest of the questions. Okay. Any questions before we move on? I don't want to go fast. This is a new topic and we want to make sure everybody understands. It is 1/3, Sheldon. Landon, please hop on the mic.
How did you simplify it?
I simplified by 4. So I did 4 twelfths. So 4 divided by 4, I get 1. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. 1/3. Okay, Landon?
Thank you.
That was going on in my mind as I simplified. Are there other questions? It is important that each time you do these questions, your answer will not match if you will not simplify, right? In fractions, they always give you simplified answers. We'll move on to question 7. Giovanni, I got that in mind. Here you are, some of those kind of questions. Now the rest of the questions will very much be like volume questions. You want to find volume of the triangular pyramid. This is a triangular. Where does the triangle come from? Let's highlight and see the triangle comes from here, right? That's why its name is triangular. This base is the shape of a triangle. That's why we want to call it a triangular pyramid. Okay. Some formulas that I want to provide you for this triangular pyramid that are not here on my slide, but will be given to you on a STAR test. So we will give you formula for volume of a pyramid. To find volume of a pyramid, you do 1/3 area of base, big B, times height. This is the formula for volume of a pyramid. On this progress learning quiz, you can use the formulas if you have them on the notebook or anywhere else. And how do I know this is a pyramid? Very simple to tell. It has this pointy top. All these vertices meeting at this one point tells me it is a pyramid. Go ahead, people. Find area of the base. Find area of this triangle base. Okay. Just in case if you're wondering what is the formula for area of the triangle base, you can say area formula is 1/2 base times height. This is formula for area of the base. The big B. Okay. Everybody get started at this time. My eyes are on your Nearpod slide so I can see how you will do and give you feedback. I'm also going to work it out on my paper so I know. I got the answer. That was fast for me. I did a lot of mental math there. Let's see how you guys are doing. You know, as you use the numbers so much, you will start to get fluent with numbers. And so did I. I didn't solve it as I was talking about the problem, but I could solve it in a few seconds because the numbers were quite compatible. Logan, I want to give you feedback for area of base. It is triangle. Did you do the half? Remember to divide by 2, Logan. Landon, I agree to you. This is what I got. Jadine, area of base looks correct. Paige, similar feedback, dear. Paige, for area of a triangle, it is 1/2 base times height. Numbers that are connected to the triangle base are 12 by 10. These are the two numbers that are connected to the triangle base. So if I want to find area of the base, I will do, it is 12 times 10, 120. Then divided by 2. Area of the base will be 60. Area of the base will be 60. Okay, let's see. Sheldon, you are very close to the answer. Logan, let me go ahead and check your work again. Okay, Logan. I'm going to give you some feedback. There are two things that probably you skipped, Logan, when you found the area. Found the overall volume. How tall is the pyramid? This pyramid is 17 inches tall. How tall? 17 inches tall. So let's go ahead and put in numbers in the volume formula and find volume. So I'm going to say volume equals. The big B in green, I calculated to be 60. So I'll do 60. Big B is 60 times height. And the height for this pyramid is 17. I will do 60 times 17. I got my big B and I got my H. I will multiply these two and then I will do a third. To find a third means to divide by 3. To find a third means to divide by 3. This will lead you to the right answer. So Logan, dividing by 2 and dividing by 3, these are the two little things, right? I would want to give you some feedback. So Cheyenne, go ahead, find the answer and show me how much. Natalie, Put in numbers and show me so I can give you feedback. Amaria, I can definitely tell that you didn't do the triangles half. That is why the answer is a little off. But you also took care of half, then the answer should be 340. So see, if you forget to do the half, your answer is twice the amount of the correct answer. If you forget to do the third, you probably end up getting something like 1,020. So these are common, these answers, choices are very smartly chosen and they hit common misconceptions. Okay, this is question 7. Andre, I see all those details in your work. Very good, very well done. Jadine, very good. Paige ended up getting some very different answer. Derek, very good. Are there any questions? Let us know before we move on. I'm Logan. Let me see what you got. Yes, you got the correct. Logan, 340. Annalie, always find the base area first. That is correct. And that will lead you to the right answer. So, question 8, 9, and 10. If you are here for question 8, 9, and 10, we will look at it in the next session because we also want to go over some questions about volumes from the other quiz, progress learning quiz. If you want to still be here, that would be good. Let me go ahead and share that Nearpod with you guys. That will be the previous progress learning quiz from 126. I'm about to share the link to that one so we can look at some of those problems. Giovanni, I will need your help and guidance, right? I'm going to open up the quiz. You will pause me on the questions and we will go over those. There's some that I can remember, but you can always pause me and we'll go over them and we'll apply similar concepts. Everybody, we will join Nearpod so we can receive some feedback from the teacher. Here is the link to the Nearpod. You all received it? I am also going to log into that Nearpod and see. Nearpod is loading. People, link to the Nearpod is there. Go ahead and join. I know some of you might have joined even before I did. Let's see how many of you joined. Okay. Layla joined before me. Layla, that is good. My internet is still loading. So my page, there we are.
Excuse me,
Yes.
is this optional?
This is optional. Tutorial sessions are always optional.
Okay, thank you.
We do have some new people join us. I'm going to pause the recording so that those watching this recording